address this situation with President Nygren of the Navajo Nation. Now, it's going to be kind of a long video, but if you're Diné, if you're Navajo, I implore you to stick around and listen to this. If you don't already know, President Nygren was present at an executive order signing by the Trump administration that would open up coal development across the nation. Specifically, he was there to represent the interest of the Navajo people. His presence and his post has drawn a lot of negative attention to himself, to the Navajo Nation presidency, to the Navajo Nation government, to the Navajo people. He made it very clear his approval of the Trump administration and his approval for the development of mining operations for coal development on the Navajo Nation, on Navajo land. His justification is that he wants the Navajo people to be leading in the energy sector, which is not entirely a bad thing. But is coal development the answer? That is the question. I have always had my reservations about President Nygren since the very beginning. Since the campaign trail, when I saw a video where he stated himself that environmentalism, the environment, was not a priority for his administration. And today that is proving clear. And I have gotten some pushback. You know, there are people who have stated that this is going to be incredible, that this is going to be something that brings jobs to the Navajo people, that are going to bring jobs to the reservation and employ people, which, you know, I don't argue. Yes, that could be a benefit. That could be something that happens, job creation, and spur some economic activity. But what I don't understand, what I don't think people realize, is that time and time again, the Navajo people, Native people, have had to compromise, have had to sacrifice our values of who we are for the sake of progress. Progress. Compromising who we are, our traditional values. And in terms of this situation, President Nygren, who has gone out of his way to make himself Diné, the face of the Navajo Nation. Yes, he may speak like us, he may look like us, but you know he does not represent us. He does not stand for the best interest of the Navajo people. He doesn't. And it's so disappointing because the way he talks, the way he thinks, the way he functions in this administration, he's not thinking as a Diné person. He's not thinking with Diné ideology. He's not thinking with Diné philosophy, with Diné teachings and traditions and culture. Because if he was, coal mining would not be the answer. Coal mining would not be his ticket for increasing and spurring economic activity on the reservation. Because it's not the answer. Our elders, my dad, my mom have taught me this. Because I was born and raised here on the Navajo Nation with Diné values and perspective, in Diné ceremony, in Diné prayer and thought. Mining, coal extraction, resource extraction is not who we are as Navajo people. It is not sacred. It is not our traditions. You don't do that. Because it has negative repercussions. Navajo people have always had this philosophy. They have always had this thought. It is not Diné to go and dig in the ground and take out things. It has negative impacts. It's going to ruin our land. Many of us raise livestock. Many of us have horses, have cattle, have sheep. That is who we are. That is our way of life. What's going to happen to them? Many of us depend on that. That is our economy. That is our economic business, our developments, our investments. Our people depend on the land and what is going to happen if we extract all of our resources for the sake of progress. That's not the answer. It's not the answer. There are so many alternatives that we can explore in the energy sector. So many opportunities to create jobs by investing in small businesses, by actually creating comprehensive policy and legislation that's going to spur economic activity from the bottom up, not the top down. That's going to make Navajo people wealthy from within their homes, from within their lifestyles, from their own perspectives, from a Diné perspective. President Nygren hasn't done that. He has time and time again showed us that he does not live up to the expectations of our ancestors who have sacrificed so much for us to be here. Was that a part of their prayer? Was that a part of their songs? The sacrifices that they made for us to be here, to even still have the ability to speak our languages, to be even still able to talk about our culture. They didn't sacrifice their life for that. So I can't help but think of how destructive it is for our president to associate himself with a man who represents so much hate, evil, and division. Yes, it is important to think about the environment now, today, because we can do something today. What are we going to do when it's too late down the road? What is our children going to inherit? What is my children going to inherit? I want this land to still be beautiful, pristine, and the way it was many generations ago. It's beautiful. Living on the Navajo Nation, growing up here, being born and raised here, only people who have been born and raised here understand that there would be so much negative repercussions if there were mining operations all around our lands. It's not our way. It's not. And don't sacrifice your values as a Diné person for the sake of progress. People will tell us time and time again that that's progress. We have to sacrifice some of who we are so we can get better, so we can be wealthier. That's not who we are. And I'm disturbed by this presidency. I'm disturbed by leadership and how ineffective it has been, how much it has censored who we are. Native people, Navajo people, we don't agree with this. And I want everyone to know that. This is not just some economic issue. This is not just an economic scenario or some kind of practiced political process. This is a discussion, a moral discussion, talking about who we are as Navajos, who we are as Diné people. It calls into question our very existence. Who are you as a Diné person? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? This is history, people. This is history. This moment, what the choices we make, the decisions we make right now will determine our futures, will determine your children's futures, your grandchildren's futures. If we make compromise, if we make sacrifices today, what does that mean down the road? What side of history do you want to be a part of? There is a line being drawn here. There are two sides of history being drawn here. One that is exclusive, one that isolates people, one that destroys the land, one that destroys our ecosystems, destroys our way of life, that destroys our thought processes as Diné people, destroys our culture. And there's a path that is more aligned with who we are as Diné people. One that lives up to the expectations of our ancestors. One that is inclusive. One that is meaningful and powerful because it is one that has gotten us here today. We need to think more critically about who we put in that office. We need to start having more honest conversations about the type of people we want to be. I think it's very important. I work a lot in Native country, and I have a lot of friends who are from different tribes, and they're all looking to us. We are one of the largest tribal nations in this country. We have the largest land base. We have to live up to our role. We have to set standards. We have to speak.
So, Trump signs an executive order, I think yesterday, expanding mining and supposedly keeping a promise to the good people of West Virginia and Kentucky that are into all this mining. While at the same time, RFK, in concert with Doge, is cutting a 50-year-old black lung screening healthcare program that President Obama bolstered when he did the Affordable Care Act, and Hillary Clinton wanted to make even more robust, and Kamala Harris had a plan to bolster it even more, while at the same time transitioning them to greener jobs, right? And this is Democrats doing it, and Biden actually bolstered it again to take care of them folks. So, okay, so just saying that aside. So, let me repeat. Trump signed an executive order, and on the other side, he cuts an advanced healthcare screening plan. A 50-year-old black lung screening plan and other healthcare benefits specifically tailored to them. That's funded by the federal government, funded by NIH, funded by different healthcare agencies. Okay? A special program designed for these miners. So you're gonna force these folks to, you're gonna open up more mining for them, but then you're not gonna give them any health care. And mining is such, right, where they mine in West Virginia and stuff like that, there's a lot of silica dust. The coal is in this silica dust. And the silica dust is so dangerous that doctors in the area are finding that miners as young as 40 years old need double lung transplants at 40. Double lung transplants at 40 with the present mining conditions. And you're taking away their health care as part of some Doge savings. Okay. Now here's the other part of this. How do those folks over there vote? How do they vote? Y'all unapologetically red as a motherfucker. Y'all vote red as hell. So again, y'all vote red and y'all overwhelmingly white. 90+% white. We're not going to get into the history of why it's so white over there. Sundown towns. Anyway, right. Overwhelmingly white. So here we go again. White people voting for whiteness no matter what. Just to own the liberals. Just to tell, the black woman, not another Negro in the White House. No more Obamas with here. Y'all voted for whiteness. Y'all voted to end this wokeness. Y'all voted to deal with the immigrants and all this stuff. And you voted to now, essentially, even though that's not what you were focused on when you were voting, because that's how you folks operate. You're not focused on that when you're voting, but in a sense, when you vote, again, I keep saying this, when you vote for a candidate or you vote for a party, it comes with not just the issue you're voting on, it comes with a suite of other issues. See, this is the shit, this American maxim. I'm not that into politics. This American maxim is going to be the end of us, is hurting the country right now. Because the majority of the American public out here, we are politically unsophisticated. We are politically troglodytic as fuck. And a lot of us are proud of it. And we still think that politics is something that's separate and apart from our daily lives, from our jobs, from what we do every day to support our kids, from from the extracurricular activity we take to our kids. For instance, we think politics is separate and apart from the fact that when your son goes Little League Baseball, that he has to wear a helmet. Did you know that having to wear a helmet required some kind of legislation? Did you know that? That's politics. Did you know playing football, you needed to wear some kind of gear around your body and helmets and stuff? That required legislation. Did you know going to the supermarket and buying food, the merchants couldn't sell you spoiled food because legislation was passed? That's politics. Jesus fucking Christ. So, these overwhelmingly white folks voting for their whiteness, but the thing about it is, this is how insidious it is. They voted for their whiteness, but they didn't realize that's what they were voting for. A lot of them subliminally were voting for whiteness, for voting to prop up whiteness. A lot of them subliminally were voting on fucking racism because they didn't like the visage of the black woman, the well-spoken, obviously well-educated, well-qualified black woman that didn't talk like they do. They voted to smack her down. They voted to stop these black people talking about wokeness and all of this stuff. And while they were doing that, to own the libs, they voted to fuck themselves over. They voted to end their own health care. They voted to end their own health care in a job that's way more dangerous than even being a police officer. You need health care if you're a minor. You cannot go into mines without health care. And to treat that shit is way beyond. It's like the money they're paying you for mining won't cover that shit. But okay, you voted for your whiteness, And this time around, the saner folks in society didn't prevail to insulate you from the consequences of your vote for your whiteness, from consequences of your racism. And now the consequences of your racism are going to come to bear really quickly, almost immediately. And you know what's messed up? If and when we get over this, a lot of you miners over there, you West Virginians, you Kentuckians and stuff over there, you're going to still vote Republican. You're going to still vote Republican, despite what they give to you, because you're incurably fucking racist. You have this underrunning current of racism that's tied to your white identity. It's the only way you know how to be white, as I was saying. And you're going to keep voting Republican because Republicans sing to that toxic way of being white that you just can't ignore. It's like a siren song for you. And you'll keep voting against your own best interest, even if the Democrats get back in and save your fucking ass. Toxic whiteness. Yet again.
But coal is also the biggest employer on the reservation, where the unemployment rate hovers somewhere between 40 and 60%. So many work at the mines despite the damaging effects on their health. Bill Tabagay worked at the Kayenta mine for 22 years. Now he has black lung, a terminal respiratory illness caused by long-term exposure to coal dust.
It seems like coal mining isn't going away anytime soon. How do you feel about your future and the future of others in this community?